did you have a mentor in STEM growing up? And if so, when did this mentor enter your life? And would you advise young girls in STEM to find mentors?
I did not really have, I wouldn't say I had a mentor. I probably would say there are different people in my life who like contributed to me being excited about engineering. So my dad was an engineer, and he was a mechanical engineer. And so like seeing him again go from like zero to like a sketch and then to a real thing was really exciting. And then, I had like a physics teacher in high school who was like really got me excited about science as well. So they're like people sort of that were instrumental. And then in college, I remember going, like, I think college is like a really great time to just explore. And I remember going to like lots of different lectures that like off hours that professors would do about their research, and just getting really excited about one of them that was about cancer research, and there was another one about prosthetics research, and just reaching out to these professors to see if they needed help with the research. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up working with folks like that. I do think having a mentor, but it was really hard. There's not that, at that time especially, and still today, there's not that many women in STEM and engineering and so on. So it's hard to find a mentor, but I would say like don't worry about it having to be necessarily a woman engineer. It could be a guy who could be a really good mentor as well. I do think it's important for you to have always somebody that you can, even if it's not the same person throughout your life, to have somebody you can go to with questions and support, because there's going to be some challenges along the way.
No, that's very true. I think that anyone you can go to, regardless of if they're a man or a woman or, anything like that, I think just having, and that even goes back to human connection, like having that shared experience with someone and being able to relate to them or ask them questions and learn from them, I think is very important. So
yeah, and I would say now I actually have two groups of like founder friends where we sort of like mentor each other, and we hold each other accountable, and we push each other to do, to elevate ourselves, to learn more, to live happier life, and so on. And I'm finding a ton of support from having those groups.
That's great too, because I feel like mentors, when you think of a mentor, you think of someone that's more accomplished than you or more advanced than you, but having that other level of mentorship where it's someone who's just like you, who's going through the same things at the same time that you are, I think is also a great way to just help each other and build each other up. I think that's great.
Yeah. And honestly, that's the part that was the most impactful for me all through college and after college, like having somebody who's sort of going through, who has like the same ability to dream bigger and like wanting to accomplish something, and but going through the process of supporting each other is really helpful.
Yeah, no, that I completely agree. So my next question, and this isn't always applicable to everyone, but I was just wondering if you have a certain experience with it, but it's no secret that there are gender inequities within STEM. So I was wondering if you could tell me about a time when you felt disadvantaged because of your gender, and what advice could you give young girls who are maybe discouraged from going into a career in STEM because of this disadvantage?
I would say the biggest disadvantage that I've experienced was just that I was often the only one. Mm-hmm. And honestly, even to this day, I'm often the only one in the room that's identifies as a female, and it really is. I mean, honestly, so for the first 7 years of the company, my husband was CEO, and then we switched, and it took him a year to convince me to be a CEO. And a big part of it is because I didn't see anybody like me running a social company. Mm-hmm. Or a tech company that was really successful. So for me, it's like this representation question is really, I think, really important. It is important to see people. It's one of the reasons why I have taken up more of like a public stance and talk about more, so that more women can see that it's possible, and more moms can see that it's possible, and you can do these things. But I think representation was the hardest thing for me. Like in computer engineering, often I was like the only girl in class. And after college, I was often the only woman in the room. So I would say the way to overcome it is to find other women in other fields. So like in engineering, I basically teamed up with people who did other kinds of engineering, and because there was enough like overlap in classes and so on, and just like support system was really great. The other thing is I reached out to TAs and professors directly, and just end up getting extra help. Like not being afraid to ask for extra help is important. And because there are researchers like SWE, Society of Women Engineers, is like really a great place to get help. NISB, if you're a person of color, is like a really great engineering society that can get you some help as well. So that's what I would say.